Hello, busy dads and busy people everywhere. Just finished my last session of the week. It was a good one. And got on the scales. Things are looking pretty good. They're moving in the right direction for sure. And that got me thinking about a question that some of you might have if you're like me, trying to cut weight right now. And it's a question I've asked myself in the past, which is, if you're cutting weight, when should you finish dieting and when should you switch back to maintenance calories? And there tend to be two approaches to this. One approach bounds the cut just in advance. So you just stipulate, I'm going to cut for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. The important thing is to stick to the strictures that I've set for myself during those 90 days. We'll see what we weigh at the end. Really what's important is just sticking to the cut. And we're done after 90 days. So that's a way of bounding your diet. But there's a different way, of course, which is to bound it by weight goal. Okay, you say, I'm 180 pounds right now. I want to get down to 160. And the diet is finished when I reach 160. There are dangers to that approach because if you don't put a time boundary on it, there's nothing stopping you from crash dieting. And typically crash diets don't work very well for longevity. The people who are still holding the weight off after 3 years don't tend to be the ones who crash dieted. Quick caveat on that, interestingly, crash dieting for the first week or so of a cut has been shown to increase longevity, because if you lose a lot of weight very quickly, there's a strong buy-in effect. You're super amped about the progress you're making, and that helps you stick with the diet going forward. So one strategy could be to cut hard for the first few days, just to get the process moving, and then switch back to something more sustainable. But I digress. The second strategy for bounding a cut is to do it in terms of weight. When I get to 160 pounds, I'm done. And that's roughly the approach I'm taking. I mean, it's a little bit of both. The day that my cut finishes really is the day that I can train burpees again, but I also have a weight goal in mind, which is 160. But the question you have to ask yourself if you're taking this second approach, which says the cut is finished once I hit my weight, is what is it, to hit a weight? When have you actually hit a weight? What I think a lot of people will do, what I've done in the past, is the morning that you get on the scales and they show you that number you're looking for, you hit that weight, cut's done. And what I've learned from weighing myself each morning is that that's a very, very bad way of going about it. Over the last 7 days, I've hit my target weight twice. I got 159.8 one morning and 160 flat another morning. But in that same 7 days, I've peaked as high as 166. And for the last 4 days straight, I've not been able to get back to the 160 mark. So if I finish my cut the day that I saw 160 on the scales, I really wouldn't be walking around at 160 or even waking up at 160. And so it would be a very misleading way of finishing. What you're trying to do if you're cutting weight and you want to keep it off is set a new normal for your body. Okay, and 160 is not the new normal if I hit it twice on freak abnormal weigh-ins. Okay. So how do you create a new normal? How do you really, really reach a weight? What I'm going to do is just something as simple as this. When those scales show me 160 or less, 10 mornings straight, on the 10th morning, that's the day that my cut finishes. And that is the day that I have truly reached the weight that I'm trying to get to. And that is when I cautiously start to move back to maintenance calories, which for that weight is going to be around about 2,400. So that's the approach that I'm taking. Okay, as quickly as possible now I want to get down to 160 flat. I was 161.8 this morning. And then I want to surf that wave for 10 days straight. When I've done that for 10 days, I will be able to trust that I've defined a new normal for my body, that I've truly reached my weight, and the cut will be finished. If that's before I can start burpees again, so be it. If that's after I've started, so be it. That is now the way I'm thinking about how I'm going to bound this cut. If you're cutting 2, that might be an approach that you consider taking as well. All right, my friends, just wanted to share that thought real quick. Hope you're having a really good hard training week. Hope you've all got great weekends with your families and friends lined up for yourselves. Take care. I'll see you next week.